The Cedric Maxwell podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, it's another episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast. Offseason continues. He is Cedric Maxwell. I am Josue Pavone. We still got weeks before training camp, but Max, there's still plenty to talk about, right? Celtics fans are excited for this upcoming season. These workout videos keep getting better and better. And this one, I'd have to say, takes the cake, which is not a video per se, but a picture of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the lab together, Max. Can you believe it? Never have I ever seen this during the offseason. I've seen it during the season, but during the offseason, these two together working out, I mean, how significant is that for you?
You know, I don't know. And I keep thinking back to a couple of things that I've heard players say and said, they don't make each other better. They're duplicate players. They're both great scorers. So they do have to find out a way to get better. The thing that made me laugh was, and I don't know how it worked out, was that Jaylen Brown, did he suit up for the big three?
That's the plan, yeah, for the championship or the All-Star game, rather. Yeah, that would surprise me too. I'm glad you brought that up, Max. Yeah.
Well, I ain't talking about
Ice Cube's pumped.
I'm talking about from a legal standpoint. How does that work out? Were you allowed to do that as a player? And how would that affect your contract if you got hurt?
Right.
I mean, but I guess if you're playing in anything, you're playing in anything. I guess it doesn't matter, but it's just a little odd to me. And I saw where they were talking about him and the first active NBA player to actually come to the big three. And it's huge for the big three. It gives them credibility, but I just thought it was a little weird for him to have his first year to do this and then have Porzingis essentially say, well, I have plantar fasciitis. And you know what? I ain't messing with this right now with my country. I'm going to not play at all, get healthy so I can come into the season. So just a little made me think for a minute.
Yeah, I was surprised, but then I thought about someone like Peyton Pritchard when he does these pro-am, right? I mean, there isn't a whole lot of blowback from that. So I guess it's essentially the same thing. You would picture as being like a 10, maybe 15-minute run. I'm sure it's not going to be that long, but it was really surprising to see that. I know it's a part of his charities, raising money. So, it's not just him going out there and falling out.
I thought it was actually, just to suit up. I wouldn't think that he'd be actually playing.
Yeah.
Because my God, I'd be so, if you were guarding him, I'd be so careful, man. I can't injure this guy. Something crazy, freakish happens. But I guess it's a good thing. I mean, things are so interchangeable right now. And things fit so well together. I mean, did I ever think that, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife would be trying to marry Michael Jordan's son? And it's big down here.
Hold on, Max. You mean to tell me you're surprised that Jordan and Pippen, they got a 7th ring, but not in the way that we thought it was going to happen?
Wow. That was really cool. You worked on that all week. I like that. But I mean, I'm just looking at it going, that's really, really kind of strange, though, considering that Michael really has put out there like he is not feeling this at all for his son.
Right.
And I know people are going to do what they're going to do, but maybe Father knows best here. I mean,
maybe
this woman's done some. She hadn't been the most, outstanding model of a woman, considering some of the guys and some of the things she's done since she met Scottie Pippen. She has really done this. But on top of that, look at Dennis Rodman. Yella. I think this is the girl he's going out with now. She's a Instagram model, and she's 23, and he's 60, and he had her picture tattooed on the side of his face.
Yeah, this is news to me, Max. I got to be honest. I don't know that about this. Are you serious?
Yeah,
this is true.
This is it.
God damn.
He's with a girl. Her name is not Yellow. Yella. You see them yellow gals out there.
Yeah.
Yellow. And he's with her. And I'm thinking is what? What happens if you break up? I mean, well, if you break up with what are you gonna do with a tattoo?
I swear, those tats never go well, man. Like it's never always in forever. Like why do people do these things?
Go with. Why don't you just go with mom? Love you, mom, something like that. But that's or you can put your kids up there or whatever. But putting the wife and all this other stuff up there, it gets a little strange. But getting back to where we were, because it's been like that crazy NBA time where there's so much information coming at you about the NBA. Michael Jordan, I saw one of his partners down here in Charlotte, and we talked for a minute, and I was asking him about that, some of the stuff. He's like, well, Michael decided he was going to sell, but he's just so, majority ownership, and he still has a lot to do with this team down here. So a lot of crazy things right now are happening. The whole D Wade speech, which everybody talked about, his Hall of Fame speech was so great. I mean, it's an interesting time right now for the NBA, considering it's this off season.
What's it been like down there? Like, what are people saying about it? About the whole Jordan Pippen situation. What's been the overall response? Obviously, it's much. I'm sure it's similar to what we're seeing up here. Everyone's kind of shocked, but they must be really disappointed down there.
Man,
we need a reunion. We need a Bulls 98 Bulls reunion. That's what we need.
That would top the cake, but that was.
It's been 25 years. That's perfect.
But see, that's the thing. The beauty of it that was so cool when we had the little portion when I did the thing with Isaiah, and we talked about different things, and I think it was. I want to say it was actually at that time. It might have been Ricky Mahorn, and he said the three teams that need to have a reunion would be the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Pistons. He said the Pistons had one. He said the Lakers, not so much. And then he went on and he said the Bulls definitely should have one. But he said their two best players right now don't get along. And then he made a point of saying, well, why don't the Celtics have one? And then he chimed in and said, well, maybe because their best player, Larry Bird, doesn't want to talk to any of them. And I was like, I don't know if that's true. I would hope that Larry, feels a certain way about us. That, you win multiple championships with a guy, it's hard to dislike him or dislike the people that you play with or against.
Right. Well, I just feel like Larry is the kind of guy who just keeps to himself, right? Maybe people take that personally, or maybe that's just, I don't see him as the kind of guy to be like, man, we have to do this. He's just not that kind of guy, but you don't take that as like he doesn't like his former teammates, or would you? I don't know. What do you think, man?
I don't know because I guess I've been together with a bunch of those guys, and we all are clamoring, I think, to get together to have something. Everybody pretty much I talked to, Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale and ML Carr and Nate Archibald and Gerald Henderson. A lot of people are clamoring to just get together. And the one time that we did get together, and that was at the autograph signing, I think you were there, Josue, with your camera.
Yeah. Nate was there.
And you could tell that the relationship and the camaraderie with the guys that were together, it was just really cool. It was really, really cool. Good stuff to see.
Well, what were your off seasons like, Max? Like when did you start getting back into the gym? Like what was it like back then compared to now? Because again, this Tatum and Brown photo is significant in my opinion because we never seen it before. These two hanging out during the offseason when they don't necessarily have to. And then the other video that surfaced on Jayson Tatum's social media was him kicking it with Paul Pierce in the gym and them going at it, in terms of just lifting and talking. I love to see that, but back to my question though, like how did that go for you guys? Like what were your off seasons mostly like compared to what we see now?
Nothing. Well, ours is nothing like that because when I got in the league initially, the first thing they told you as a rookie said, once you finish the season, they said, young buck, take 2 months off. Don't even go near a basketball. Whereas we see now, guys like LeBron, guys who want to have longevity, you never stop. It becomes a year-round process. So I like to see this. I like the fact that Paul Pierce is kind of I saw a commercial with him and Tatum. I did like that. So there's stuff about this that, we have those older veterans come around, and that's what is so pretty and so significant to me about Celtic family. When you bring the KGs back, when you bring Garnett comes back, we have Ray Allen, we have Paul, you have myself, we have all these people around. It just makes it that much more special of a family unit when you think about guys who be in that situation.
100%. That's exactly what I was going to get into, man. This Celtics fraternity thing is real. And I feel like Tatum and Brown, they're hip to it in the sense of, like, obviously they saw what Pierce and Garnett and those guys did, and they know obviously all the banners that hang above them. But to have those one-on-one conversations, I think will go a long way. And it doesn't have to just be about X's and O's. Just a conversation about what it was like. These guys never been to the mountaintop.
I don't. They do and they don't. I think that they go in their era where they saw some of Paul Pierce playing, so they had an opportunity to connect like that. With me, it was so funny when I told you how many times I've told this story, how, they had just done the whole thing with the Lakers Celtics series, and we're talking about it. And Jayson Tatum comes out and he starts screaming out, cornbread, cornbread. And I really knew him, but I didn't know him. And he finally looks over me and I said, "Boy, what's wrong with you?" He said, "Man, I saw that 30 for 30. I saw it 2 times. Damn, you a bad motherfucker, man." So I'm just saying.
That's what I mean, man. Like, he's a historian, man. He likes this stuff.
It really
old soul.
It really is cool. Here's the thing I do like about him, what I've heard him say is he went on to say, if I play in Charlotte one time a year, I owe it to the fans who were sitting there. And that, to me, I love that. I love that about him. Yeah. I didn't feel that way myself. And that is the one thing that I hated. I can't say I hate it, but that's the one thing, when you play with a guy like Larry Bird, you're always put, I guess, in a bubble, because Larry played hard against everybody. There was never a night that he took off. I mean, if it was 20 people out there who had one leg, then he was just going. He was going at them like they had 2 legs. He didn't care. That was his level. And for most of us players, there were nights when psychologically, I'm sorry to say this, but there were nights when you took off. Your mind wasn't as sharp. I know I felt like I was built for the playoffs. I felt like I was built for every big game that I played in. I was going to play, and I played in 80 games one year and 81 one year, but my mental level preparation wasn't as great when you're playing alongside of a Larry Bird, because his mental preparation was maybe the best that I've seen when it comes to that killer instinct or playing against guys every single night. And that was one thing that, hate's a wrong word to use. I guess envious. I was envious of the fact that he was able to bring himself up to that level every night. Hell, I played with Robert Parrish. Robert Parrish wasn't like that, to bring himself up every single night. Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson. I'm talking about Nate Archer. I'm talking about Hall of Famers that I played with during that era. Nobody was able to get their game up to the level of Larry Bird in a 82-game schedule.
Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long, because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/Boston.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I feel like you can't really teach that, right? You either have it or you don't. But I feel like seeing Pierce with Tatum during the offseason, I want to see if that brings more of the Celtics pride out of Tatum, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, I just want – and this is something I talked about on the Celtics postgame show like a couple of years ago, when I was like, Celtics hadn't made the finals. They were trying to figure this thing out. We're trying to wonder if Tatum and Brown could work together. And I'm like, no, man, I just want to see Tatum just show more of that Celtics pride. Do one of these every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like the first time Garnett did that and how everyone lost it. You know what I mean? Like this is
then you feel that this year. You remember when he had that big game? Who was it against? Was it Philly? He had that huge 50-point game or whatever, and
Philly,
he was
game 6.
He was knocking down shots, and he was like, "Oh my God!" That excitement.
Well, no, he couldn't find the basket until the fourth quarter. That's what it was, and then he went off. But right.
And that to me is that's when I think he's going to change gears, because his teammates and the fans, they get hyped up when he's hyped up. Players, right. So like that. And getting back to where I was with the conversation of playing hard, you think even the great Kobe Bryant didn't play like that every single night. You think about the time that Kobe Bryant went in a game and refused to shoot. And he kept passing. He kept passing and passing. So,
well, he was trying to prove a point that night, but yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, but I mean, to prove that point, he did. But at the same time, that's what I'm talking about. The level of concentration or commitment. I've only seen that basically out of one player, I think, that I can think of during my time. Garnett might have been like that, though. Garnett did not.
Yeah.
Garnett seemed like there wasn't a night off that he took. But those were the two examples that I can think of and going, But that's the greatness of some players like that.
What do you think compelled Jaylen to do this? Is it the contract? Is it like, you know what, we got to figure this thing out one way or another? Not the contract.
That contract is coming. Come hell of high water. I don't, if he's not, injured, that contract is coming. He's going to be the highest player.
Right. No, I understand that, but Mac, my point is like, it's a contract enough for him to say, you know what? Okay, let me get in the gym with Tatum. Let me do my absolute 1,000% best, because this organization has finally shown me completely that they're committed to me, and that the contract for what he's done and what he's going to do in the future. You know what I mean? I feel like there's that sense of that sense of security that, man, his organization really appreciates me. Let me call up Tatum real quick and get in the gym with him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is it something like that?
To me, I think it's so cool. I think it's really cool when I think
I love it.
Who they are and what they're doing. I really think that is so cool. But I don't think that is bringing him back to the gym, because I think he does want to prove he's worth the contract, because of so many naysayers talking about, oh, he doesn't deserve this and that.
8 turnovers in game 7.
So many people saying that about him. So I think he just wants to come back and bang it out. And I look for him to have a sensational year. And his year he had a sensational year. He
gets better every year, man.
His only flaws that you look at was the fact that he cannot turn the ball over as much as he had in these situations where he's going into a crowd of people. Tatum does one thing where he cuffs that basketball almost like he's carrying a football running through a line. Tatum Brown puts the ball out a little bit too much where you're able to knock it away, or gets a little squirrely with the dribbles. But I don't think anything to do with him coming to terms of like, hey, I got to get in the gym and I got to do this year to prove, this is going to be what I'm doing this for Tatum and doing it for. I think he's doing it for himself.
Max, it's season 2 of the Showtime Lakers show on HBO, and guess what season they're in right now, Max? 1980-1981 season. Remember that year? You remember that?
Put in work, baby. Put in work.
Putting in that work.
Watch out. Put in work, Draymond. That's what I did.
Tell him to go watch that, right? Watch that show. Well, not only did you get a couple of highlights in there, but man, it's interesting to me because Coop's all over it. Michael Cooper, Lakers legend Mike Cooper.
So you're saying they put in 84, not 81?
What do you mean?
You just said they put it in 1981. You said they put
Oh
it
no,
in
the
84.
season starts in 81, but like
Okay.
2-3 episodes in, they're already a couple of years later. Like it's kind of
okay. So
yeah,
they're
goes
up to
it goes quickly.
84. Yeah, during that.
Yeah, yeah. This is like
kind of-
episode. I think this week's episode 4, but the first 2 episodes were like 80, 81. But I thought it was interesting because he's been in the news lately for what he said on his podcast with Nick Josue, Showtime with Coop. And this is what he said. The Boston Celtics take 3 steps back. How do you do that? You lose Grant Williams, you F around and lose Marcus Smart, your heart and soul of your team, and then he just trashes Porzingis. Who the hell is he? I quote, the one thing I'll say about him is he looks like a Celtic. The guy, that guy there was a flop in Dallas, was a flop in Washington. He's an international player. He was brought over here to be a marquee player. And man, to me, for him to go out and say this, man, I'm like, you want this team to fail so badly that you're trying to convince yourself, after what he said about Tatum and Brown and now it's Porzingis isn't enough. It's just funny to me, man.
Well,
and then I'm watching this TV show, and there he is.
Well, and as you know, doing a podcast, you have to make statements like that. And sometimes if you throw enough, I'll do like this with Michael Cooper. If you throw enough shit against the wall, eventually something's gonna stick. And Porzingis is an easy target.
He's trying to get ahead of this.
Because of the year that he had with Dallas, the year that not working, coming to Washington. But Washington wasn't a complete flop for him, considering the fact that he had one of his best seasons last year, and that's what made Brad want to pull the trigger when it came down to him. Now you're putting that on the floor at any time. If Porzingis is out there and he's playing alongside Al, you now have 5 legitimate 3-point threats at any time on that floor. So I'm interested. I appreciate what he said. I respect what he said and the fact that he wants to trash the guy. But this is one of the times where I said, like me, given an opportunity to breathe. I'm the biggest Marcus Smart fan out here, but give it an opportunity to breathe and see what else happens.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait for this upcoming season, man. Easily the most highly anticipated Celtics season in a while, if you ask me. Just considering the changes and the back-to-back trips to the Eastern Conference Finals, 2022, making it to the NBA Finals, and everything that came after that. But lastly, I want to get you out on this, Max. I don't know if you sent a text message or something, or maybe someone watched this show, but the Celtics, they had a workout with T.J. Warren this week, and he's vying for that one of those last roster spots as the Celtics look to, put the roster together heading into training camp. Glenn Robinson III is another player that they worked out. What's your reaction to that, man? T.J. Warren, especially.
This is what you do. Go look at the video of T.J. Warren playing against Jimmy Butler, and you see what you get right there. You get one of those dogs. You get a guy that doesn't like him at all. And,
that was a good matchup.
That was one of I think that's when he was with Indiana. And they both went back and forth till I think T.J. Warren got thrown out the game. But I think you pick those players. And strategically, you think about
that in the bubble.
I don't care where it was. I don't care if we're walking down the damn street. I don't care.
No, I don't mean that as a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys.
I'm just saying.
I want to see. I don't care. It's fine. I want to see. You know what I love when you get one guy that doesn't like another guy. That to me, that is some cool stuff, and that makes great theater for me. And for me, it puts a guy like Jimmy Butler on record. Jimmy Butler did a number on you these last couple of years, but you didn't retaliate enough to me going at him. And I did see T.J. Warren go right at him. So I'm happy to see.
Yeah, he's fearless, man.
Are working him out. He's a good wing guy. He's a pretty good shooter. He can score the basketball. What I like about his physicality, and I like his toughness. I like his grit, and I love his emotion. And not lack of, not to say of, but you know me. I always want, if I could do one thing in life right now for the Celtics, I would sprinkle some of that dust on Brown and Tatum meaned us. Tupac had the thing about, he got 2 dogs beside his bed and I feed him lead. That was in his raps.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was to make a meme. That was just to make a meme. And excuse me, animal lovers, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is what he said, but I just want a little meanness in both those guys.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. When I talk about that Paul Pierce, Celtics Pride thing, I want some of that meanness, that grit. Man, Iman, it just came into my mind right now. Iman Shumpert was on a podcast recently. He told a story about when they went at it in New York, and Pierce comes in and he's looking at he's looking at Melo, and he's just like, "Yo, who is this guy guarding me? Who's this? Let me know when you want to play, man. Let me know." He scores on them twice, and Iman said, "Man, I'm trying my hardest to stop this guy." He's like, "What do you mean? I'm right here in front of you, man." Like, I want Tatum to have a little bit of that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm in here. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here because I got a mission now. You know, I've been to the finals, but I'm trying to do it all right now. And this is it. Anyone in my way, I'm not having. You know, I want that type of attitude.
Yeah, the word I would use, moxie. You know, you want a little moxie with your players. And 100%. That's the only thing that has been missed. You think of the last couple of seasons for the Celtics. What was the most moxie thing you think about? And that was probably Al when he dunked on Giannis. And they elbowed him all up in the mouth and then screamed and yelled. And Al tried to play it off, but we knew Al meant to do that on purpose. And that's what I want to see. That kind of stuff pushes the Celtics over the edge. Celtics haven't really had that, and they don't have enough of it for me. And that's what Marcus brought to the table that you lose. So you got it in translation. You have to have somebody else to pick that up.
And it's got to be these guys, man. How great would that be if it's your 2 best players, right? Mm-hmm. Jaylen Brown, right before he signs that contract, telling a room full of people, like, it's about the defense, and I gotta be that guy. I love that, man. I think that's what really carries this team a long way and fills that void that's gonna be missing without having someone like Marcus Smart. You know, that dog, like you say, not having that dog in the lineup.
I totally agree, and we'll get a chance to see it because the season's coming up. I just look at some of these games, these exhibition games, and is it the 8th of October? 8th
October, yep.
The first exhibition game, and then you go down to New York and you play Philly, and you got a couple. You end up with Charlotte in their first game of the season. That's going to be a good one. That game is in New York City. First game of the season. You playing.
Porzingis is back.
You know that. Man. That is going to be a fire sale up in there for that particular game. So
I'm talking all kinds of shit.
Yes.
Rapping.
Yes.
I can't wait. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast. We got special guests lined up, man. We got plenty of fun things planned between now and training camp and the start of the season. So I can't wait. I'm not going to say much right now, though. I don't want to get ahead of it, Max. I feel like sometimes that delays the surprises when we start teasing people about what we got going on. So we'll just let the surprise do its thing, and when you least expect it, you'll see these guests pop up, lined up, right?
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. He is Cedric Maxwell. I am Josue Pavone. This has been the Cedric Maxwell podcast, sponsored by good friends over at FanDuel. Head over to FanDuel.com/Boston. That's FanDuel.com/Boston.
CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets when you bet on a Super Bowl winner. You can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season.